4, 3, 2, 1. Watch me. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Hey guys, welcome to Level Up with Lydia. This is episode number, just kidding, it's whatever episode you're watching. I have no idea when this is actually going to go out, but I am Lydia Navo. I am your host with Level Up with Lydia. And today I'm really excited. We are here with Ramon Cuevas, correct? With Venture Franchise Consulting.
There we go.
So welcome. Thank you for coming.
No, it's a pleasure. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I see, as a business coach, I see a lot of people either wanting to buy a franchise or thinking it's an easier route, and maybe it is and maybe it isn't. So I think we're going to find out a little bit about what it entails to actually buy a franchise, the pros and cons of it, and I don't know, maybe some other just really great business tips from you.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So why don't you get us started about how did you even get to franchise consulting?
I think it was like most people. They don't know really what they're looking for. They know they just want to make a change. They're ready to be an entrepreneur. They want to own their own business. I did the same thing.
Okay.
I have young kids. I wanted that work-life balance. I wanted to be able to be with them at their school projects and root them on for their games. So I started Googling franchises by me.
Okay.
Clicked a few boxes, got inundated with phone calls from all kinds of different people, had no idea that was going to happen. And I'm having a conversation with somebody thinking it's the actual franchise. And turns out I was a consultant. I didn't know there was such a thing. I didn't know what I do for a living existed. So I'm talking to him and I said, so you don't work for the company? He says, no, I'm a franchise consultant. And I said, what does that mean? He said, I work with people who are looking to exit their career or maybe diversify their revenue with a business opportunity, or maybe they're existing business owners that want an additional business. And then I help them navigate the process. So I'm asking questions and he's talking to me, and this is during COVID. My wife's in the other room. And about a couple of weeks in, she says, ask him how he does what he does. How did he become a franchise consultant? I said, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't know if I could ask that. So long story short, I asked him, he said, I actually think you'd probably be pretty good at it. Let me walk you through the process. And I did my due diligence, just like I would help navigate somebody to buy a franchise. He helped me navigate the process to become a franchise consultant. And what I loved about it and what I gravitated towards was I represent hundreds of different franchises in 35 different categories and industries. I don't have a vested interest in which one they choose. So I'm truly there. My fiduciary is to them. I don't work for the franchisor. I work for my client. So it's what works for you, and I'm helping to figure out what's the best fit. And sometimes there isn't one. Business ownership isn't for them. And I consider it a win if I help them to figure that out.
Yeah.
Then it's probably best for everybody that they maybe take a step back, and maybe they're not ready today. Maybe they're not ready for personal reasons, business reasons, financial reasons, but I'm helping them to make an educated, informed decision on the right business and the right time.
Yeah.
And helps me put my head on a pillow at night knowing I'm helping do the right thing for the right person.
That's
So
awesome. And so is Venture Franchise Consulting, is that a franchise?
it is not.
Okay.
It is
Interesting.
There's not enough room for LLC,
Right.
but that's my business. I own it. And there's other consultants that do what I do, and they work for brokerage groups that allow them to present those franchises.
Okay.
And then that's how that works. And then ultimately, as people talk to me, I'll spend that time to walk them through who I am, what I do, why I do it, my relationship with the franchisor, and how I help navigate that process.
Awesome. And so what are some of the things that you look for in your clients to say, yes, they'd be a good business owner? And then how do you define what business they should look into purchasing?
It's really the hunger they want it. A lot of times people will ask me, well, I was really interested in this, but I don't have any experience. Well, if you're going to buy a McDonald's, they're not looking for you to come up with a better French fry recipe or a Big Mac sauce. They're saying, we have a proven business model. We have the processes and procedures in place. Can we find someone that can help us duplicate it and grow the business? So you can't teach personality, sense of humor, just even how to create a culture with the people that work with you. They can teach you how to open and run and scale the business. So that's what I really look for. Someone who's going to be respectfully, maybe arrogant, maybe they think they know it better or whatever it is. It's not going to be really the right fit for anybody.
Yeah.
So they're better off starting their own business. And there are plenty of people that do that, and they're super successful because that's the right fit for them. So I would never say one's better than the other. It's what's the better fit for you.
Sure. And so how do you find the right business for the right person?
Okay.
What does that process look
Well, I'm pretty sure you always say, I throw darts, right? You want
Right.
to, that's
This
okay.
one, pull it out of a hat. This one.
What's a rotation? So it's really, I have questionnaires. There's disc profiles, Zoracle profiles. It's just conversational. And then as we're speaking and they get more comfortable and they start feeling a trust, they open up a little bit more about their goals, their objectives, their fears, their concerns. Really what they want out of life, work-life balance. What's their exit strategy? Are they looking to something to just diversify? Are they looking for retirement? Are they looking for their kids' college or just a tax write-off, whatever it may be. But as I speak to them and I make my notes and they fill out the questionnaires and we do our due diligence, I then take that and I have a very strategic, methodical approach to then going to those hundreds of franchises and looking for the ones that are first licensed in their state, the territories available in the area that they're interested in, and it fits their financial parameters, their risk tolerance. And then I do a Zoom call and then I share my screen and I present multiple franchises that check those boxes with maybe one or two that challenge them because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You don't know what's out there. It could be the next best thing for you, but you didn't know that was a franchise. Like I didn't know there's such a thing as a franchise consultant.
Right. Which I didn't know what business coaching was before I started 10 years ago either.
So there you go. So then I tell them the goal really is I'm going to show you multiple options. Pick the top 2, maybe 3 that you feel you have the most interest in, you think have the best potential to accomplish your goals and objectives. And then I'll introduce you to that franchisor. And then you'll start the actual process. Then you'll get more granular with them about what the day-to-day looks like, their support as far as marketing, advertising, branding, technology, coaching, training, mentoring. And I also tell them culture. It could be a good fit, but if they don't match maybe your goals, maybe you want something that's mission driven, whatever it is for you, you also want that. So I kind of tell them that introduction call is a first date. You're getting to know them, they're getting to know you. And then at the end of that call, you decide whether or not you want a second date, in which case you continue the process. And then you go through all the process of unit economics. You're going to go through territory checks, franchise disclosure documents, a litany of things as part of your due diligence process. The last step is discovery day. So that's looking behind the curtain. That's almost like a rehearsal dinner.
Okay.
Now you're meeting the family and the friends and making sure that makes sense. And you go into the corporate headquarters, you're meeting the team. You're actually having lunch and or dinner with the team. So you're also making sure personality, again, culture, but you're physically seeing the inner workings of the company. At that point, then the two of you will decide, the franchisor and you, does this look like it's a good fit for the both of us? In which case they will then award the franchise.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you think that industry matters when matching people, or is it more about like the actual culture franchise? Does that make sense?
It does, because you're asking the question almost like they'll ask the question, like, what should I be looking for?
Yeah.
What's the best industry
why a
out there?
barber versus a fitness studio?
What's the hottest industry? What can I make the most money at? And I said, really, it's up to you. Like part of what I do when I send them an email is I have a website, and on my website lists all 35 industries. And if you click on that industry, every franchise I represent in that industry will come up. So they also can see what's out there.
Sure.
I had people who were looking at a Mexican burrito restaurant,
Okay.
and then they asked me about a crime scene cleanup franchise.
Okay.
I don't see the synergies.
Nope.
I don't see what the draw was, but it turned out that even during our conversation, they didn't talk about how in college they were an EMT, they drove an ambulance, whatever it may be. So that helps them to decide and figure out, I had no idea that was a franchise. Are you kidding me? That could be a good fit for me. So I tell people, I don't know the right industry for you yet. I don't know the right franchise for you yet. I don't think you do. Let's go through the process and let's identify it together.
Sure.
I think a very large percentage of people that maybe will reach out for a specific type of industry or franchise end up with something else because they organically realize that by talking and researching, this was a better fit for me, my family, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's having that outsider's perspective to say, hey, let's consider some other options before you just decide on that first.
Right.
initial.
And then they'll say, what's the highest performing? And I'll tell them there's franchises that'll do $5 million a year, and that same franchise, same business model, same everything, there's people doing 500,000. So when you have validation, which to me is one of the strongest pieces of the process, you actually, at some point, you'll talk to multiple people around the country with the same dynamic and demographics as you that already own that business. So you'll be able to ask them outright, how long before you were cash flow positive? What did you gross year one? What did you net year one? What did you do this year? Projections for next year. What's the culture like? How is the training? How is the culture? A lot of questions. And then I tell them that part of your validation is I want you to talk to one of the top performers and one of the bottom. You want to see why for both.
Yeah.
And does one maybe resonate more with you? In which case that could be a red flag if you're here. Somebody that maybe has 2 or 3 locations. So if your goal is to be a multi-unit entrepreneur, you can talk to somebody that did already scale their business.
Yeah.
And there's value in that because when you share best business practices with a franchise, every year the franchise disclosure document is renewed. So you have to update any costs to starting your business, if there's been closures, lawsuits, and there's an item 19 that talks about the actual revenue, gross revenues on average. They have to be updated every year.
Sure.
So it's in the vested interest of everybody who already is an owner that whatever their exit strategy is, they want the highest multiple possible. And not to make it just about numbers and take the personal away, but it is a business.
Right.
So when you want to sell, you want to get the highest you can. So when someone else out there is struggling or maybe they close their doors, it's going to be reflected on FDD, and that's going to affect their exit strategy.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing it because they're good people and they know what it's like to start a business and how scary it is. So they want to help, but there's also a plus for them too on the other side for.
Well, I think something you mentioned that's super important just in business in general that not enough people do is that market research of, if you're going to buy a franchise, yes, talk to the top and the bottom and the middle, talk to people who are already doing it. But even if you're just starting a business in general, go to your market or close markets to you and talk to the same people in that industry to see, hey, what's happening? I think that's so important and so often doesn't happen.
I was ridiculous. Before I started my business, I must have spoken to 15, 20 different consultants.
Really?
And I just spent an hour on the phone with each of them, grilling them until I realized, yes, I can do this.
Yeah.
I want to do this. And most of them said, keep my number. I hope you move forward. And if you do, number one, let me know so I can congratulate you. And number two is if you do have questions, if there's things that no matter how much due diligence you do, there's going to be things that come up, but you have a support network. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Sure.
So embrace that team.
That's awesome. And so what are the biggest benefits? Let's say top 2 benefits of going the franchise route versus starting your own.
You're dealing with already an established, proven business model. You're not starting from scratch. And you have the coaching and ongoing training and support that not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring or what hurdles or obstacles you're going to face, you're going to be able to speak to people that have already hurdled those obstacles, and you can ask them how they did it. Okay. So I've spoken to people who said, I was really thinking about opening my own business, but I thought it'll probably take me 3 years to get to where I'll be in 6 months with a franchise because I'm going to have to figure it all out myself. Yeah. And then I don't know how old the people are listening, but the old Bugs Bunny cartoon about he plays first base, second base, home, all that. If you're a superstar in marketing and advertising and SEO searches and cultivating a team and recruiting and retention and client acquisition and all of that, fantastic. Run your own business. If you maybe are self-aware enough to know that maybe there are some weaknesses, whether it's sales or operations or whatever, they have the ability to help support you with the weaknesses and increase your positives and your strengths.
And playing devil's advocate, because I've coached enough franchises and I've had this come as well.
See the smile right away.
I know, right? There's something happening.
I'm going to get hit.
I know, right? No. But a common thing that does happen is franchises, right? So say there's a franchise that's well established. There's hundreds of locations across the nation. Not every business owner is the best business owner. So there's some that get a bad name. So what happens if somebody wants to start a franchise and the preconceived notion of that franchise maybe has a negative connotation to it? Does that make sense? How do you overcome
the concept
that?
of a franchise or a specific franchise?
So I know some people who own franchises who they themselves are a really great business owner, but the name of the franchise has negative connotation to people because they've had a bad experience with a different person in that franchise. So how do people overcome that? If they say, I really like this franchise and I want to do it, but I come across people who have dealt with them in the past, the old owner, the previous owner.
So the self-serving answer is when you work with a consultant, they're helping to determine that.
Yeah.
So it also could be a great brand, but maybe they're an emerging brand. Maybe they only have 2 or 3 locations.
Sure.
Now, if you have the risk tolerance for that and you want to be on the ground floor, great. If you don't, then you don't do that. Okay. If there's, and again, there's going to be lawsuits, closures in the FDD, but if you feel like there's a bad reputation or there's whatever it could be conceived as, it could hurt you to grow the business and expand the business, then I would recommend don't move forward with that business. There's Chick-fil-A's that close, there's McDonald's that close, and there's people that own 30 McDonald's.
Right.
So what kind of business owner are you? So first of all, be honest with yourself. Are you going to do what it takes? So when somebody tells me, when I ask a question, how many hours can you dedicate towards a business? And the answer is as many as it takes. Okay. Or 5, 6, 7. I'm in a lot of meetings during the day. I travel a lot for work. Okay. Are you going to hire a really strong general manager then to run the day to day? And even then I said, I would ask a lot of pointed questions, and I'll help you with those questions as well about validating with somebody who is a corporate executive that is doing this semi-absentee, which is 5, 10, 15, 20 hours a week, and see, are they happy with the decision, or is it taking a lot more time than they ever thought? Not all franchises are the same in any way. Not all consultants, not all coaches, whomever you're speaking with. But when you deal with the consultant, we can pivot at any time with any franchise if it looks like it's not the right fit. I tell them, as we go down this journey, which could be months to figure out the right franchise, let's just be upfront with each other. If you ever start feeling like this, maybe for whatever reason, it's not the right fit, let me know. My job isn't to talk you into that franchise. My job is to help you find the right fit if there is one out there for you. So we can pivot and look at something else. So, but who are you as an owner? Are you going to take calls at night? Do you look for something 9 to 5? Are you available on weekends? What do you want to get out of this business? Because, you know, your goal is to be on a yacht and do this from Saint-Tropez. Fantastic. It's not going to be year one. It may not ever happen, but anybody who's successful with any type of relationship, personal or professional, you have to put the time in, you have to put the effort in. You can't phone it in and expect the relationship on the other side to give 100%. So I don't want people thinking that if they get a franchise, well, they're doing everything for me. It's a franchise. I just have to sit back and wait for the money to roll in. No. You want to be a top producer, you're going to put the effort in to be a top producer.
Okay. And I know you've talked a lot about, you know, it's really about the client and making the right match for them. But are there certain industries or certain franchises that are just better for a blanket? If you're going to do it, do this one. If I had to choose.
Yes. There's franchises where they check all the boxes. The business model itself is that genre may be exploding or that type of business is exploding. Their business model is spot on. The people that support it are just rock stars. So everybody's firing on all cylinders. Absolutely. Have a conversation with them if that also makes sense for you. Now, it could be senior care. That's obviously exploding. You know, people turning 65 every day, 10,000 people. But again, it's a certain type of person that has the compassion, the empathy. You want to get in that for the right reasons. So just because it's a juggernaut as a business model and an industry, still doesn't mean it's the right fit for everybody.
Sure.
So I also tell that to people as well.
Awesome. What is are there franchises that are popping up every day that you're adding to your portfolio to represent? Or is it pretty much a standard, these are the ones and that's what we're sticking to?
Great question, especially since you know who I was and what I do for a living. That's pretty amazing. So yeah, with my inventory, there's always new ones that are coming on. I'll have relationships with people that maybe aren't part of the broker network, and then I'll work with them separately. Okay. So that's part of the conversation is I'm always growing as well. I'm always increasing the portfolio of businesses I represent. If I hear either from other consultants or just through the industry that there is, as you mentioned earlier, a brand that is a great brand for a lot of those reasons, I'll reach out to them, introduce myself and say, hey, I'd love to add you to my portfolio. Okay. And can we have an agreement that I can represent you? Because I think I have clients that would be a great fit for you and you're a great fit for them. So it's really very much open.
Okay. And this can go for somebody starting their own business or somebody buying a franchise. I mean, that's both starting their business. What happens if You said you guys agree this is a great franchise, and 2 years into it, they're either not doing well or they don't like it anymore. What are next steps? What do you suggest to them? How do you coach them? What does that look like?
So I always tell them, once you sign the agreement, you become a franchisee. It's your call. I'd love to stay a part of your life and help you in any way that I can. Very much so. I mean, it's almost like you just raise a child and sent them off to college, but you want to hear how they're doing. So, but as they're going through the process, and if they're not excelling, it's a mutual communication. They should be sharing that with the franchisor because they have ongoing coaches and mentors.
Okay.
So they shouldn't get to that point because somebody should start realizing what's happening and right that ship before it completely turns over.
Do all franchises have coaches?
Well, no.
Okay.
And depending on, again, if let's say they're emerging market or they just don't have that infrastructure yet, but that's part of what I do to help them to find out that due diligence.
Okay.
I've had people that I already own 6 businesses. I'm looking for this business to add to my portfolio. And when I start talking about the coaching and mentoring and the market support, they're like, no disrespect. And I don't want to be coming off as arrogant.
No.
I have my team.
Yeah.
I just want that business model. That's it. If I have a question, I can have somebody to call, but are they going to let me run it? And I said, well, that's a conversation with them because I can answer general high-level questions, but the goal really is for them to speak to the franchisor because it's their business. They're the experts in their business. I can't be an expert in 700 franchises.
Right.
And I tell them, I'm going to answer any questions I can, but if you feel like this is really potentially a viable option for you and you'd like to learn more, let's coordinate a call with the franchisor, and then they can answer those questions. And if they don't answer them to your satisfaction, then there's no need to continue with that process. You can just go ahead and we can start looking at something else.
When should somebody engage with you if they're thinking about starting a business, starting a franchise? And should they engage with you if they're thinking about starting a business and have no idea if they want a franchise?
Yes to everything, because again, for me, I consider myself, I'm not a business coach, but I like to be that trusted advisor where I'm going to help you determine, are you better off opening your own, not opening anything, going with a franchise, which franchise? I've had friends call me to say, I have a friend I just spoke to, they're about 2 to 3 weeks away from signing an agreement and they're between 2 franchises. Do you mind having a conversation and helping them out? No, it's not going to be mine.
Sure.
It's not. But I love what I do. And if I can impart any type of assistance, wisdom, guidance, whatever, I welcome the opportunity. If somebody's like, I don't know if I'm ready to leave my job. I don't really know what I want to do. I just know I'm frustrated and I want to look at options. Let's talk.
Okay.
So there's no, from the kernel of the idea of I may want to be an entrepreneur to I'm a few days away from making a decision, but you mind having a conversation with me to make sure I'm good. Because if you don't work with a consultant, you work just with the franchisor. And again, not everybody's the same, good, bad, or different.
Sure.
But for the most part, the franchisor or the franchise representative you're speaking with, their job is to sell you that franchise.
100%.
So they may not guide you on, hey, you forgot to ask me this question, or you didn't want to know about that. Probably not. Whereas with me, I'm the one helping them with the understanding you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what questions you can ask. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I have documents that I put together on how to digest a 200-page FDD document. I'm as involved as you would like me to be. It's up to you how you want to move forward.
Out of all of the people that you've helped buy franchises, start businesses, all those things, what do you see, if you can think of your top 5 most successful business owners? You know, man, these 5 just knocked out of the park once they started. What's something that they all have in common?
The franchisor?
No,
franchise itself?
the owners.
The owners?
Mm-hmm.
Failure's not an option. They are going to roll up their sleeves. They're going to do what they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it, and they go in with that mindset.
Sure.
That's somebody who's going to be a winner, no matter what they did. And probably they'd be a winner even if they didn't do a franchise because they have that work ethic, and that's just what they're doing. And one of the big things the franchisor, want to know is their why. Why did you do it? For me, it was my kids and my wife. It was work-life balance. That was the primary. For somebody else, there's a myriad of reasons. There's no right or wrong, but if they say it out loud and they really hear themselves on what their why is, that helps them too, because they don't want to lose sight of their why.
Yeah.
This is why I'm getting up early. This is why I have a hard time sleeping at night because I'm stressed about what's coming up or what's not coming up.
Right.
So their why is extraordinarily important, and staying laser focused on that why.
Okay. It sounds like buying a franchise is so easy, and you buy it and you're like, wow, it's all done. All of the coaching's there and the systems are there. What are the downsides of buying a franchise, if any?
Sure. The downsides are it is structured. You're going to lose some autonomy as to how you're going to grow the business or the services. So if you want to organically, you decide you want to expand and offer these services, they may say, no, this is our business model. This is what we do. And this is what we're going to stay by. Okay. So I don't care if it's a McDonald's. I don't care if it's a gym, whatever it is you are going to have to stay in their lane. And if that's something that you really can't live with and you want that freedom to do what you want when you want, then franchising isn't for you. You can sell whenever you want. They're generally 10-year contracts. But from the day you execute the agreement and pay the franchise agreement, it's your business. So if it's 6 months, 6 years down the road when you want to sell, great. You can let them know and they can help you. You can let me know and I can help you. You can do whatever you want. Most franchisees will grow their business by acquisition of existing franchisees.
Okay.
So somebody who's going to sell their location or locations, one of the first things I tell them is you tell the franchisor, because they may have somebody saying, please let me know when this territory comes up. I'd like to bring it on and expand that way.
Sure.
So there's a lot of reasons. But like I said, the negatives are going to just be the autonomy to just do certain things that you want to do, to grow the business maybe in a direction that you want to grow it in. But other than that, it's whatever their personality is. But
So you help them figure all that out.
Exactly.
Right. So the last question I want to ask before we wrap up is, if there was something that either a business owner or aspiring business owner was to do today, an actionable item they can do today that a year later they look back on and go, wow, that made a huge difference over the past year, what would that one thing be?
So I think it's like creating that foundation. So whether it's, and again, I'm not, but a business coach, a CPA, a financial planner. So as you start growing your business, you have those in place, because one of the worst things that can happen is I'm doing really well this quarter, but I didn't realize the next quarter maybe wasn't so good. Now I have my quarterly taxes are due or that's due, and you haven't really properly prepared. Part of it too is understanding who you are and your weaknesses, where if you're not good with money, then yes, you need to speak to that person. If you are an operations guru and you're all about it, but you're not great in sales, get a sales coach. Really, it's about being honest with yourself on where your strengths are, where they aren't, and where they aren't, you need to start putting in people in place to help you build on a solid foundation.
Yeah, I think that's really important, is being humble enough to go, yeah, I suck at that. I need to stop trying to do it by myself or trying to, just figure it out and hire someone to help me.
And sometimes you have to take either baby steps or maybe one step back to take 3 steps forward. And don't be afraid to take that step back and maybe speak to somebody about, I'm not sure why I've plateaued. What am I not seeing? And somebody who maybe isn't as familiar with you, again, like a business coach, can sit there and from the outside and say, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? What is your vision here? What did you put in place for that? So again, it's speaking to somebody and being open to learning and being open to not criticism, but just guidance on what you could be doing better.
Sure. So what I heard from this entire 30 minutes is get a consultant coach. Just
I honestly heard the same thing. So it works out.
Yeah. Whether it's a consultant coach, do it. Right. We all need that accountability. I mean, that is what it is. It's somebody from the outside looking in. So I appreciate your time so much today, Ramon. I think we got some good information.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you being here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again to Level Up with Lydia. Please go follow us on Spotify and YouTube. We will be up on Apple maybe by this episode. And also follow us on Instagram at levelup_with_Lydia. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.